Second month of Eclipse, the city no longer felt temporary. Astrovault had evolved. The weak districts collapsed first, then rebuilt themselves stronger. Old alleys became fortified checkpoints. Entire apartment towers became faction territory. Rooftops were sniper zones. Supply lines were protected harder than gold reserves. Markets had taxes now. Medical stations had waiting lists. Some factions even enforced curfews inside controlled districts because random violence eventually became bad for business. The games were no longer a tournament. They had become civilization wearing body armor. Rain hammered softly against one of the upper district bridgeways, while two contestants stood beneath a glowing market awning, smoking cheap stimulant sticks and watching the giant public ranking screens overhead. One was missing an eye. The other had a mechanical jaw. Neither looked eager to leave the shelter. The giant projection above them shifted again. Current remaining contestants, 197 out of 400. Current kill leader, Kenny Rain, 79 kills level 10. The mechanical jaw contestant exhaled slowly. 79. The eye patch man shook his head. He stopped being human around 50. Above the ranking board, another notice flashed across the city. Open bounty challenge. Faction. Black Veil offers 9,000,000 credits for confirmed elimination of Kenny Rain or members of the Eclipse Reapers. Neither contestant moved. Neither even pretended interested. The eye patch man laughed quietly. Another bounty. Fourth one this month. Nobody learns. The mechanical jaw man looked upward toward the skyline where Lux Meridian Tower stood glowing against the artificial night. You hear about the sniper attempt last week? The eye patch man nodded immediately. The rooftop one? Yeah. He killed the sniper with his own bullet. The mechanical jaw contestant shook his head slowly. They say his daggers phased through the wall first. The eye patch man snorted. They also say he made a man's heart explode with telekinesis. That one was fake. The wall thing wasn't. Silence settled between them while giant screens replayed old challenge footage across the city. Kenny Rain had become mythology inside Astrovault. Not because he survived, because he adapted faster than everyone else. Most contestants spent their upgrades on armor enhancement muscle boosters, pain suppression, combat stimulants, or implanted targeting systems. Kenny spent nearly every major augmentation point on one thing: his daggers. The weapons no longer behaved like normal blades. At level 10, the twin black daggers now floated beside him when active, controlled through neural augmentation and micro-telekinetic relay implants fused into his nervous system. They could curve mid-flight, change direction, instantly hover defensively, and phase through certain solid materials for brief moments before rematerializing inside targets. The city had started calling them ghost teeth. Pines called them bullshit wizard knives. Meanwhile, Lux Meridian Tower had become infamous across Astrovault. Not officially. Officially, it remained a luxury defensive residence. Unofficially? Everyone knew the upper floors belonged to the Eclipse Reapers. That was the faction name they eventually chose. Mostly because Pines suggested the Kenny Fan Club, the Emotional Support Murderers, and the Tax Evaders. Lyra rejected all three immediately. The Eclipse Reapers controlled Lux Meridian Tower, 3 lower district supply routes, 2 medical stations, and a growing information network stretching through the market sectors. And unlike most factions, people actually trusted them. Mostly. Inside the tower itself, life had changed dramatically over the months. The penthouse no longer looked temporary. Weapons lined walls openly now. Armor stations filled entire corners of the living area. Strategy maps glowed constantly above the holographic table while supply crates stacked neatly beside reinforced windows. The twins had somehow turned their shared room into a war bunker, mixed with a comedy stage. Nobody knew how. Kenny stood near the massive city window watching rain slide down the glass while one of his daggers floated slowly beside him. The blade rotated lazily in complete silence before phasing halfway through the wall beside him, then returning, then spinning again. Pines sat on the couch watching with mild irritation. You know, normal people use hobbies to relax. Kenny glanced toward him. This relaxes me. That concerns me deeply. Lyra entered from the weapons room carrying fresh armor plates. The third challenge announcement goes live in 30 minutes. Jax immediately appeared from the kitchen holding food. Do we think this one kills us emotionally or physically? Both, probably, Rex answered while following behind him. Pines pointed dramatically. I miss the old days when challenges were simpler. Lyra blinked. The old days? Yeah, hallway ambushes, simpler times. The city alarms suddenly echoed outside. Not danger alarms, announcement alarms. Every screen in the penthouse activated simultaneously. The Eclipse symbol appeared, a black sun-consuming gold light. The smooth announcer voice returned. Attention remaining contestants. The city quieted beneath it. The third official challenge will begin in 24 hours. A pause. Then, faction war. The penthouse went silent. Even Pines sat upright properly. The screen shifted, revealing the current faction standings of Astrovault. The 5 dominant surviving factions appeared one after another. The Eclipse Reapers. Leader, Kenny Rain. Members, Kenny Lyra Pines, Rex Jax, Black Veil Syndicate, a ruthless assassination faction controlling eastern trade sectors. The Iron Dogs, former military contestants turned armored enforcers. The Hollow Saints, religious extremist survivors using fear and public executions. The Crownless, wealthy strategist faction built around supply control and information warfare. The announcer continued. Tomorrow, the 5 remaining dominant factions will enter sanctioned territorial conflict. A holographic map appeared. The challenge format will be capture the flag. Pines blinked. That sounds almost normal. Then the announcer smiled. All combat remains fully lethal. There it is, Pines muttered. The map zoomed inward, revealing a massive industrial district divided into faction territories. Each faction would defend one core objective while attempting to capture opposing faction banners. The final surviving faction with the highest territory score would win challenge rewards. Lyra folded her arms. This is not about flags. No, Kenny agreed quietly. It is about territory. Rex leaned over the holographic table studying the map. The Black Veil sectors border ours. Jax grimaced. They've been trying to kill us for months. Pines nodded, which honestly feels rude after all the effort we put into surviving. Kenny's floating daggers rotated slowly beside him. Then they attack first. The next day, Astrovault transformed into war. The industrial challenge district stretched across abandoned manufacturing sectors beneath permanent storm clouds and flickering floodlights. Towering factory structures created narrow combat corridors between open cargo yards, while elevated rails crossed overhead like steel spiderwebs. Each faction began within designated sectors protected by energy barriers until the match officially started. The Eclipse Reapers stood together atop a rusted loading platform overlooking their assigned territory. Kenny wore black combat armor, reinforced with sponsor upgrades and neural augmentation ports glowing faintly beneath the skin near his neck. His twin daggers floated silently behind him, not attached, watching. The nearby factions noticed immediately. One Iron Dogs member muttered quietly, "Those things move on their own now." Another answered, "Yeah, that's why we're not fighting him first." The challenge horns sounded. The barriers dropped. War erupted instantly. The Hollow Saints charged first, screaming religious chants through modified helmets, while the Iron Dogs advanced methodically behind portable shield walls. The Crownless moved carefully instead, using drones and long-range tactics to gather information before committing. Black Veil attacked exactly how Kenny expected, straight toward the Reapers. Explosions tore through the outer industrial lanes as Black Veil assassins flooded the sector using smoke grenades and cloaking rigs. Pines sighed dramatically while pulling his chain loose, every bloody time. The first assassin appeared behind Lyra. One of Kenny's daggers moved before the assassin could strike. The blade phased through a cargo crate beside them, then rematerialized directly through the assassin's chest. Dead instantly, the second dagger crossed overhead and curved unnaturally through smoke before slicing another attacker's throat open. The surrounding contestants visibly panicked. One Black Veil fighter shouted, "The knives see through walls." "They don't," Pines yelled back while swinging his chain into someone's face. "He's just emotionally unstable." The battle spread across multiple sectors simultaneously. Rex and Jax moved together like synchronized chaos. Rex covered lanes with terrifying pistol precision while Jax moved through close-quarters combat so aggressively it looked personal. Lyra controlled rooftops and traversal routes, preventing enemy factions from flanking. Pines handled defensive holds near the Reaper objective flag using traps, chains, and alarming amounts of sarcasm. And Kenny became the center of the battlefield. The telekinetic daggers no longer fought like weapons. They fought like predators. One phased upward through steel flooring beneath a Black Veil sniper and pierced directly through his jaw. Another curved around shield cover before rematerializing behind an Iron Dog enforcer's neck. Contestants stopped pushing sectors whenever Kenny appeared. Not because they lacked numbers, because numbers no longer felt relevant near him. Midway through the challenge, Black Veil launched a full assault against the Reaper objective. 20 surviving faction members advanced together through smoke and suppressive fire, trying to overwhelm Kenny's smaller faction through sheer force. Pines looked across the battlefield. That is aggressively unfair. Lyra checked ammunition calmly. Still manageable. The enemy reached the central sector. Then Kenny moved. His daggers separated instantly. One floated high, one low. Both vanished. Screams erupted through the smoke. Bodies dropped before some attackers even understood they had been targeted. Kenny himself advanced directly into the remaining fighters bare-handed while his blades hunted independently around him. A Black Veil assassin lunged toward his back. Kenny caught the attacker's wrist without turning, then snapped the arm sideways hard enough to expose bone before throwing him into another advancing fighter. The daggers returned, then exploded outward again. 3 more dead. The Black Veil push collapsed completely. The surviving attackers ran. Rex watched them retreat while reloading both pistols. That faction is not emotionally recovering from this. He was right, because by the final stage of the challenge, Black Veil barely existed anymore. Their leader died attempting to steal the Reaper objective personally. Their remaining members scattered into neutral sectors trying to survive individually. The faction shattered completely beneath the pressure. By challenge end, only 4 surviving Black Veil members remained alive in Astrovault at all. The final horn echoed across the industrial district. Challenge complete. Winning faction, the Eclipse Reapers. The battlefield slowly quieted beneath the storm. None of Kenny's people had died, but the industrial district below them looked catastrophic. Burning cargo lines, collapsed railways, bodies scattered between faction banners. Pines looked down at the destruction and exhaled slowly. Well, Jack stepped beside him. We may have overachieved slightly. The giant city boards updated across Astrovault instantly. Contestants remaining, 154 out of 400. Current kill leader, Kenny Rain, 90 kills, level 10. Public favor, dominant. Faction influence, highest in Astrovault. The city erupted, not just cheering. Something stranger. The Eclipse Reapers had officially become the strongest surviving faction in the games. And somewhere far away beyond Astrovault, both House Rain and the Empire of Earth watched the same numbers appear on their own screens.